Welcome to Mango Movie Studio. We're thrilled to present the release of Evil Dead Rise 2023. Get ready to experience a chilling, blood-soaked tale of possession, survival, and terror. Stay tuned for an intense, thrilling ride as the evil forces rise to claim everything in their path. Let the nightmare begin. The film opens at a tranquil lake house where Teresa sits by the water, taking in the calm surroundings. She's enjoying the peace of the moment when Caleb's drone suddenly whirs overhead, scaring her.
The shot I got. I gave her Klonopin so she can sleep.
Teresa, a bit startled, decides to check on her friend Jessica, who hasn't been feeling well. As she enters the house, she finds Jessica in bed, looking pale and uneasy.
Jessica? How you feeling? Take your car and escape the hell of...
Teresa sits beside her, trying to comfort her, and begins reading aloud from Wuthering Heights. But something strange happens. Jessica starts to recite the same words in an eerie, distorted voice. Teresa is unsettled but doesn't think much of it at first. Then, without warning, Jessica's body jerks violently, and she falls unconscious. Teresa rushes to help her, but in a terrifying moment, Jessica grabs Teresa's ponytail, yanks it, and violently scalps her.
Who's the brainless meat now?
Who's outside? Caleb sees the possessed Jessica, whose once friendly appearance has now morphed into something monstrous. Jessica grabs the drone, cuts her own face open with it, and then tackles Caleb into the lake. As she rises from the water, her body is unnaturally still, hovering above it, her face twisted in a demonic grin, and she hurls Caleb's severed head at Teresa, who's frozen in fear. The film takes us back one day earlier to introduce Beth, a woman in her 30s who works with a band. At a music venue, she nervously takes a pregnancy test in the bathroom.
Like I told you it was half an hour ago.
And her face drops when she sees the result. It's positive. Unsure of her next move, she decides to visit her estranged sister, Ellie. Ellie lives with her 3 children in a small rundown apartment. Danny is a rebellious teenager with dreams of becoming a DJ. Bridget is a headstrong activist, and little Cassie is obsessed with all things creepy and macabre.
Sophie's dad's taking us. I told you like 10 times.
Ellie's life has been hard since her husband left her months ago, leaving her to care for the kids on her own.
Hey, Bridget.
When Beth arrives at the apartment, the tension between the 2 sisters is palpable. They haven't spoken in a long time, and Beth is shocked to learn just how much Ellie is struggling. Despite the tension, Beth expresses her regret, asking Ellie for help. But Ellie, overwhelmed with her own problems, isn't in a position to offer support. She sends the kids out to get pizza while she and Beth talk. It's clear that Beth feels guilty about their fractured relationship, but Ellie brushes off her sister's attempts at reconciliation, too hurt to forgive her. As the kids return from getting pizza, an unexpected earthquake rattles the apartment building. The ground cracks open in the parking garage below, revealing a hidden room beneath the building.
Bridget, check this out.
Danny, curious as always, climbs down into the dark room, where he finds old records and a strange book bound in dark leather, the Naturam de Monto, the Book of the Dead. Danny brings the book and records back to the apartment, showing them to Bridget. She's immediately unsettled by the book's strange aura and the ancient markings on its pages. While fiddling with the book, Danny accidentally cuts his hand, and blood drips onto the pages. The book reacts, opening on its own. As the book opens, a sound echoes from an old record player, a voice of a priest warning of the horrors tied to the book and the ancient evil it unleashes. The priest speaks of gruesome rituals and the terrifying power of the demons trapped within. Danny looks through the book, horrified by the drawings of twisted creatures and disturbing symbols. In the meantime, Ellie, who has been out, is riding the elevator back up. Suddenly, she's attacked by an invisible force, and cables from the elevator coil around her body, trapping her in a painful grip. Ellie returns to the apartment, but something is terribly wrong. Her body seems to be in a state of feverish madness. She starts cooking eggs, but instead of normal eggs, some of them are filled with dark, congealed blood. Her voice changes, becoming cold and detached as she speaks of hurting her children in horrifying ways. Teresa and the kids watch in terror.
Mom?
Al?
How much I wanted to cut you all open and climb inside your happy family.
As Ellie begins to crawl across the floor in a grotesque manner. She vomits violently. The real Ellie appears to regain consciousness. She weakly begs Beth not to let the demon consume her children. Ellie collapses into an unnatural, lifeless position.
Don't let it take my babies.
Beth, terrified, and the neighbors, Gabriel and Mr. Fonda, try to put Ellie to bed and help her recover. But just as they think she's gone, Ellie's body jerks upright, her eyes burning with an unnatural fire. She lets out a horrifying shriek, her body unnaturally contorting as she lunges at her children. In a brutal attack, she grabs a sharp tattoo needle and uses it to cut Bridget's face.
I'm free now.
Let me kiss it better.
Beth and Danny fight to restrain her, but Ellie is no longer the woman they once knew. As the night wears on, the demonic possession intensifies. Ellie, fully transformed into a deadite, starts killing anyone in her path. She attacks and kills Gabriel, one of the neighbors, biting out his eye before violently murdering him. She kills Mr. Fonda next, tearing into his body with savage force. Back in the apartment, Bridget is slowly succumbing to the same fate as her mother. The possession spreads and Bridget becomes a deadite, vomiting blackened insects from her mouth and attacking her family. As if things weren't bad enough, the deadite Ellie tries to trick Cassie into opening the door for her, pretending to be her real mother. But Cassie is smart enough to stay cautious, and they manage to keep Ellie outside.
Open up and let us in, Cassie.
Open the door like you open your legs, you stinky!
Go to your room.
Beth and Danny are horrified to find Bridget sitting eerily on the kitchen counter, chewing on a broken wine glass. She then goes after Beth, cutting her leg with a cheese grater. Bridget becomes even more aggressive, attacking Danny and trying to harm Cassie. But Cassie, with a burst of bravery, impales Bridget with a sharp makeshift doll. It looks like she's killed her, but Danny, unsure of what's real, ties Bridget up to keep her safe.
I'm not gonna let that happen. Just in case.
Danny confesses to Beth about the Book of the Dead and the terrifying power it holds. As he does, Ellie finds a way to break back into the apartment by crawling through the vents, killing a cat that was there. Bridget begins to stir, coming back to life, and attacks Beth again. Ellie isn't far behind, hunting down her remaining children. Danny tries to protect Beth, but he is stabbed by Ellie, succumbing to the deadite curse.
I'm sorry, Cassie.
Beth now knows that the only way to survive is to escape, and she resolves to do so with Cassie. They attempt to climb down the fire escape, but Ellie and Bridget are right behind them. Beth shoots Ellie in the arms and legs, slowing her down as they make their way down to the streets. But the deadites are relentless, and Ellie, Bridget, and now Danny have become a terrifying force. In a final attempt to escape, Beth and Cassie make it to the parking garage, but their way out is blocked. Beth...
Come on.
It's coming!
Beth fights back, grabbing a chainsaw to protect them from the terrifying deadites. The battle is intense as she slices into Ellie, Bridget, and Danny, sending their bodies into a wood chipper. With her strength faltering, Beth looks at her family, heartbroken by what she had to do. Cassie cries, mourning the loss of her family, but Beth comforts her, knowing they have to keep moving. The two leave the building, knowing that the horror they faced is behind them. The next day, the building is quiet. A woman named Jessica, who lives below Ellie, arrives at the building. She's about to join Caleb and Teresa, but when she enters, she finds the aftermath of the bloody night before. The evil that has consumed the building is not over, though, as it quickly finds Jessica, setting the stage for the horror to continue.